Hey guys, if you're regulars on my channel, you already know that all my long format videos reviewing knives include hardness test. I'm using an industry standard Rockwell test machine to do that. And if you're new to this channel and joining us to find out exactly what happened with Bark River, welcome, and please don't forget to subscribe, because this is where the true, unadulterated, and unaffiliated information lives on this channel. So what happened is the truth about Bark River knives finally became official. There have been rumors and posts on social media from collectors and former employees of the company alike about shenanigans that were going on in the company. And several models of their knives were identified as counterfeit United States made. In other words, the claims were that the blades were sourced out of China and made out of inferior steels compared to their normal lineup, and then ground to the final shape in the US, sharpened here, and then relabeled made in the USA. And so today, on March 23rd, 2026, the former CEO of Bark River came clean and posted in social media his admission that those rumors were true. He also included the list of models affected. They'll be farther in the video. And it was a shocking public announcement, although not a surprise to a lot of people. For some reason, I haven't been following the story closely, and it was mostly a surprise to me. I have 4 Bark River knives in my collection, and I'm going to leverage the quantity to actually come to some findings and conclusions that might be of interest to you all, mainly because this knife was listed or blacklisted on the short list of counterfeit steel models. I don't know if I can call it counterfeit, relabeled steel list of models. It's still a beautiful knife, and I'm eager to know if it's going to be useful to me now that I don't have to cherish it. You know, it has first production run, happens to be the last production run, I believe. But it's a beautiful knife, and I am actually a little bit excited to start carrying it because I paid less than a half of its retail price to buy it brand new. So here we go. Okay, so we will take a systemic approach. First, this is the only knife that is on official list of counterfeit or mislabeled steel. This is Gladstone Hunter that is marked CPM 154, which would be a powdered metallurgy version of 154 CM. And as you can see, it's laser engraved, and the markings are consistent with the typical Bark River markings. This one is also engraved first production run. Okay, this is my original, the first Bark River I purchased. So 150 thousandths thick. This is gunny in PSB 27 steel. And as you can see, 154 thousandths thick. And this is Highland Special, which is also labeled A2, 143 thousandths thick. Which is different. Let's see the Gladstone Hunter now. 148 thousandths thick. This blade is 3 to 5 thousandths of an inch thinner than the others. There are statements from whistleblowers that they were required to remove made in China markings and put made in USA right here. So if the blades came in with a laser engraving made in China, then it's plausible that they removed. We also are looking at this area of the blade, the ricasso, and I'm not seeing any rough machining marks that would be evidence of removal of any markings before. Unfortunately, I can't look any deeper into the knife because the blade is not removable from the handle, or the handle from the blade. Next, I am going to measure the blade hardness. As always, I first validate the calibration of my device. This is an independently certified calibration block. It's serialized to this paperwork, and the stated hardness is 62 HRC. So we're gonna put it on and double check. I was using this device yesterday, working on another video, so I'm pretty confident it was right within the calibration. Zeroing the primary load. First I zeroed secondary load indicator, and now I'm releasing it. Let's see what the result holds. This process takes about 10 seconds. Just enough time to subscribe and hit notification bell. As you can see, I'm spot on at 62 HRC. And now I'm going to speed it up. First, I'm going to test hardness of A2 steel on this Puko model. Ideal hardness window for this steel is 59.5 to 61.5 HRC. A2 being a tool steel, it can be heat treated to a higher hardness, max out at 65 HRC, but the toughness will decrease significantly. In other words, the edge will chip easily. I'm going to skip the boring part, get you straight to the result. 60.2 HRC is conservative, but it will give you decent edge retention and incredible toughness. And now let's measure the hardness of the culprit, Gladstone Hunter. So if it was CPM 154, the hardness could be 61 to 63 HRC. But Mike Stewart has publicly admitted that the Gladstones were made with 9CR18 MOV steel, which is typically heat treated to 58 to 60 HRC. The first poke yields 57.6 HRC, not spectacular. We're going to do 2 more pokes just to make sure that you get accurate average. At this hardness, the steel will display reasonable properties, 58.5 on the second poke. And the reason I'm saying that is because for the outdoors blade, you may not want to go to the hardest possible range, again due to field sharpening needs and toughness requirements. What we got on the third poke is 58.5 HRC again, for the average of 58.2 HRC. So not spectacular, but actually decent. And now let's talk whether or not I got screwed on the price. When they first released it, the MSRP marked on the box was $339. I paid $170 for this knife. That's before I found out exactly what's happening with the company. And by the way, here's a list of models affected by this substitute or fakery, followed by the statement that they found it to have the same toughness and edge retention as CPM 154. I seriously doubt that. One cannot compare 9CR18 with a powdered metallurgy of CPM 154, not even with cryogenic treatment, which I seriously doubt the Chinese supplier applied to this blade. So obviously I got screwed in some way. But in some other ways, I got a reasonably decent knife. All right, so if this story does not underline the importance of independent social media reviewers of any products in general, but of all knives in particular, I don't know what will. This is an absolute case where if a independent, unaffiliated reviewer was equipped with the right tools, this whole story could be blown open months, if not years ago. I'm doing my part with this Rockwell tester that I purchased myself for the sole purpose of running independent reviews. And I would love to have the metal analyzer, you know, one of these handheld metal analyzers where you just point it at a piece of metal and it reads its chemical composition. and then I could include that in every video. Unfortunately, these things cost $16,000 and up, and I don't have that much disposable income to just dump it into a channel, because my channel is basically a non-profit affair. I spend a lot more on knives, tools, and tons of uncompensated time working on these videos. So, and I get $4 per 1,000 views from YouTube because it's not a very popular niche content. So for me to recover a cost of a $400 knife that I'm reviewing, it would take 100,000 views, which doesn't happen yet, right? You guys are going to help me with that. I don't know. I don't know if I should do GoFundMe. I have a lot of knives in my collection. Some of them are duplicates. I could probably raise at least a half of the price of such device. I'm just looking around at my collection if I started selling knives, but then I would be taxed. I don't know. I'm looking for advice from you guys, some kind of support. Give me a hint. What do you guys think? Looking for sponsors basically, but not the kind of sponsors that send you freebies and expect absolutely positive reviews. I digress. Back to the video. If you set everything else aside, it is a beautifully made blade with a beautiful handle. Very nice sheath that came with it. High quality sheath. This is probably US made. And let's just admire the craftsmanship for a minute here. So my understanding is when they say kit knife, they only mean that the blade blank was done in China. So it was cut out, then heat treated, then sent to the United States, where they mated it with locally sourced components. We have brass, a couple different layers of G10 of different colors, and a beautifully executed Mike Carter handle with semi-gloss polish. So the grind of the blade was done here, and they high polished all the metal parts on the handle. Now, do I have a bad taste in my mouth from the story? For sure. It's wrong on every freaking level. I'm not gonna lie to you. This disappointment in the man who orchestrated it all is exacerbated because he hurt a lot of people by doing that. I'm not talking about collectors, people that worked at Bark River, his own family. There are no winners in this story. What I recommend you guys do is try to see if these knives will be sold at rock bottom prices. If you see them for less than that, I've seen one sold for $125 on the same auction that I bought this one on. I guess some people were more informed than I am. You can go for it. You will still get a very good hunting knife with excellent geometry, medium size hand here, where medium to large glove. Excellent size for hunting, processing, even survival, very crisp spine. The sheath itself is worth $50 in my humble. So while I'm disappointed, and you can probably tell by my demeanor, I am actually still shocked. I still feel like I got a nice user. Leave it or take it.